This afternoon, the message I want to share with each of you is a message of encouragement. It's a message of hope. These are extraordinary times. These are dangerous times. There are a lot of reasons that people are afraid for our future. But I hope that we leave today seeing a brighter future for this country. I want to say three things. Number one, liberty is under assault. Liberty is under assault in an unprecedented way. We have a president and administration that seems to be going down the Bill of Rights, trying to violate every single one of the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment, we see an administration that continually disrespects religious liberty, and in particular, disrespects the religious liberty of the men and women who are serving our nations and our forces. And that's just wrong. So when the president realized there was a problem, that over 5 million people had lost their health insurance, the reason they lost it, by the way, that wasn't an unintended consequence. The text of Obamacare says, you may like your health insurance plan, but we don't like it. So it's illegal. The reason people's plans got canceled is because Obamacare makes their plans illegal. So what did the president do? Now, how many of y'all remember junior high civics? You may remember the old Schoolhouse Rock, how a bill comes along? I think the president missed that day. Because the normal way, for the last 225 years, if you've got a law that isn't working, there's a way you deal with it. You go to Congress, you sit down in the House, you sit down in the Senate, you say, hey, this isn't working, let's change it, let's pass a law. The president held a press conference. He held a press conference in which he told insurance companies, I am instructing you to issue insurance plans that Obamacare makes illegal. I am telling you, go violate the law for 1 year. And then in 2015, then you have to comply with the law. Now, simultaneously, members of Congress were working to actually fix this problem. The president astonishingly said, if Congress passes a law that does what I'm doing, I'll veto it. You know, the phrase rule of law means something. We are a nation of laws and not of men. And this country was founded on a proposition that no man is above the law, especially our elected officials. And if you have a president that picks and chooses which laws to follow, that's no longer a president. And I got to tell you, every person who is worried about liberty, who cherishes liberty, should be deeply, deeply concerned about a president of the United States who maintains it doesn't matter what the law books say. He will decide what laws to follow and what laws not. Liberty's under assault. You know, it's quite fitting this past week that President Obama has been talking about income inequality. It's fitting because under President Obama, income inequality has increased dramatically as a direct result of his policy. You know, I'll tell you, the single biggest lie in all of politics is that Republicans are the party of the rich. Here's a very little secret. The rich are too great with big government. Big business does great with big government. It gets in bed with big government. Big business has armies of lobbyists and accountants and lawyers. Do you know that right now, the top 1%, the millionaires and billionaires the president loves to demagogue, earn a higher share of our national income than any time since 1928. But, you know, everything was fine after 1928, so there's no reason to worry. When you hammer small businesses with $1.7 trillion in new taxes, with massive job-killing regulations, the people who get hurt aren't the titans of industry. The people who have gotten hurt under the Obama economy have been the people struggling the most. They've been young people, Hispanics, African Americans, single moms, people struggling to climb towards the American dream. You know, a lot of y'all have gotten to know my dad.
Yeah.
As you know, he is a shy, retiring guy. My hope is in time we can coax him to come out of the shell.
What happens then?
Lord helps. But you know, I try to think about every issue we face right now from the perspective of 56 years ago. 56 years ago is when my dad fled Cuba and came to Texas. And he was 18, he couldn't speak English, and he washed dishes making 50 cents an hour. Pay his way through school. Now, if my dad were washing dishes today, the odds are overwhelming that he would have lost his job because of the Obama. Because it's small businesses all over the country. The majority of small businesses right now say they're not hiring or they're letting people go because of the regulatory and tax burdens that they're struggling under. 2/3 of all new jobs come from small businesses, and the people that lose their jobs are people like my dad, 18-year-old kids that are just hoping to have a chance at the American dream. You know, look at what's happening with Obama. You look at what's happening with economic growth. We're facing a period of stagnation where people are hurting, and they're hurting because these policies, out of control taxes and spending and regulation, kill growth. They kill opportunity. How do we turn it around? We have the policies. We need fundamental tax reform. We need to abolish the IRS. We need to stop job-killing regulations from Washington. And we need to repeal Dodd-Frank. The American people, and only the American people, can and will turn this around. This last year, something incredible has happened. Something that very few of the commentators in the media have paid attention to. It is a fundamental shift in politics that is reason for hope and optimism everywhere. This past year, we have seen the rise of the grassroots. You know, right when I started serving in the Senate, one of the first big fights I was privileged to participate in is I stood side by side with my friend Senator Rand Paul in his epic filibuster over drones. Now, what happened there was incredible. Because as Rand stood and spoke the truth, all over the country, the American people began speaking out. Twitter exploded. It was interesting, as the night went on, you started seeing senior senators who'd been there a long time rousted out of bed and rushing down to the floor of the Senate to participate. And you could see them kind of, well, some staffer told me this Tweety thing is happening. And as a result of the American people speaking out, the next day, President Obama was forced to do what he had refused to do for 3 consecutive weeks, which is to admit in writing that the Constitution limits the federal government's ability to target U.S. citizens.